Kyle Meredith talking with Mike McCready, famous of many things, Pearl Jam being one of them. But right now you're actually getting prepared for a bit of something different, and that is Flight to Mars. Is that right?
Yes. We do a tour, a show every year, and my band is called Flight to Mars. We're a UFO tribute band, which is a kind of obscure band in the 80s. And the money that we raise for it is it's twofold, if you want me to explain that now.
Sure.
It's for advocacy for patients with a woman named Jennifer Jaff. And she's a lawyer that helps people with chronic illnesses to know their rights in the insurance industry. Super important. And also, and the bigger one, is to send kids that have Crohn's or colitis to camps up and down the West Coast called Camp Oasis, to raise money for that, too.
Yeah. And you've been doing this now for 10 years, is that right?
This is our 10th anniversary, yes, I have. We've only done one show per year in Seattle, and to send kids from the Northwest to that, to a camp up here. But so we're taking it on the road this year to kind of spread the word and the love and everything.
Yeah, and spread the education about UFO.
Exactly. Get people back on the UFO train, which was back in the 70s and the early 80s.
Yeah. Was this a band you were into back then, too? Or?
Yeah, this was a band that I loved as a kid growing up. Stone, our other guitar player, and I used to love this band. We traded pictures of the guitar player, Michael Schenker. We were just so nerded out on how great this band was. And they had one seminal record called Strangers in the Night, and then they kind of fell apart after that. But it's a very, as musicians go, for guitar players, it's very much of a high watermark for guitar players to listen to Michael Schenker play, and he was the lead guitar player.
Yeah.
So, and great vocals by Phil Mogg, and just one of my favorite bands that never kind of really made it, as big as they should have, I think, but love them anyways. You
guys have always had kind of a history of educating people on bands that, a lot of people haven't heard of, so.
Right. Well, that's kind of fun. I mean, it's we're all guys that love to go to, have vinyl records and, go to record conventions and do all that stuff and see many bands as we can. So we try to, take those kind of bands on the road with us if we can.
Yeah. There were some UFO guys that ended up in other bands afterward, right? Like Scorpions, and did I read somewhere like Great White or something like that?
I'm not sure what the Great White thing could have been, but Michael Schenker, his brother was actually Rudolph Schenker, who was in the Scorpions. So he was, okay. Schenker himself was in UFO when he was in the Scorpions when he was 16 years old, and then he left and was in UFO, and then he came back and played on a couple Scorpions records. So he wasn't technically in them, although he was originally. He was.
Yeah. And I might guess that a lot of these bands would have had an influence on the early Shadow days as well.
For sure, yeah. I mean, in terms of bands that we loved as Shadow, there were local bands. There was one called TKO we really loved, but the ones we would trade tapes to and listen to would be UFO or Kiss or Van Halen or Aerosmith. All the stuff that we were growing up with and grew to love. Motorhead, stuff like that.
Right. So now that you get to be in this tribute band, it seems like this is the perfect excuse to never actually have to grow up entirely. Yeah, so.
Exactly. It kind of is. It feels like that, Kyle. It kind of feels like I can go into this space of where I'm going to play a certain way. Is how I wanted to be able to play when I was 16, and I couldn't.
Yeah.
Now I kind of can, so it's fun to be able to play in as close as I can to Michael Schenker. It takes two of us, Tim DiGiulio, who's the other guitar player, and myself to be only half as good as Schenker was.
Wow,
probably.
That's saying something right there.
Yeah.
I was going to actually ask something that kind of hits on that right there. So you get to go out on this tribute band, and you're taking it out on the road. Do you find yourself that you're wanting to embody a character, or is it still just Mike McCready plays awesome guitar on stage to other people's songs?
I think it's kind of I kind of take on the character of him a little bit in terms of I'm using flying V guitars like he did. Mm-hmm. So I will, and that's all I'm using pretty much that on the night during the UFO set. So that's kind of my homage to him, I guess. If I hate to use that word, but I will use it. And then I just kind of play how I play. I play a little bit different than I do in Pearl Jam. I play a little more kind of metal and just a little harder at times. And I try to do my best not imitation or I don't know. I play the parts as best as I can. There's some stuff I cannot even figure out that Schenker did. So I just have to kind of fake it, you know.
I think that really is saying something. I mean, a lot of us hold you in high regards as a pretty amazing guitarist. So hearing that
thank you.
there's even someone else out there that's besting you.
Oh, there's a lot out there that are besting me. I'm telling you, there really are. I feel very grateful that that I'm in a position where I can play in a band that can get to go out and play to a lot of people, and people seem to enjoy my leads and stuff like that. So I feel very honored by that. And there are many others that are better, for sure, though.
Yeah. Well, this has shed a lot of light on Crohn's disease, as you have as well. Was that kind of an easy tie-in right from the beginning? Were you looking for an outlet to say, yeah, we need to do something with this, and it kind of matched up? I mean, how does it all kind of tie together?
Kyle, it was a long journey. I got Crohn's when I was 21 years old. I was down with Shadow, as you were saying, in Los Angeles, California in 1986. And I got, I got an attack of it there, and I didn't really know what it was. And then it kept going, and there was blood and mucus and pain and all sorts of stuff that happens along with it. And I was 21 years old, and I finally went to the doctor, and he said, well, it looks like you have ulcerative colitis, and then it turns into Crohn's colitis, a few years down the line from what they've diagnosed. And so I had it for a long time. And then when Pearl Jam started, I kind of kept it quiet because I was super ashamed of it and embarrassed. And it's a very isolating disease in terms of you never know when you have to use the bathroom, and it really hurts a lot, and it can be a big mess.
Right.
And it's happened to me a whole bunch, on tour, on stage, driving around Seattle, anywhere. I've always had to know where kind of a bathroom is, and it's really a nightmare. So I was very kind of brought down by it and ashamed, I have to say, for many years, until my wife Ashley kind of said, look, I'm tired of you complaining about this. You should reach out and come out and talk about this and try to meet other people that have this and try to work on some sort of solution. So 10 years ago I did that, and that's when the weight was lifted and the solutions started coming my way.
Yeah, are you
getting to meet other people that had it. I didn't really know anybody that had it than me.
Right. Are you still dealing with it today as bad as you were in the past?
Not as bad as I was in the past. Luckily, I'm on this drug called Humira, which it works very well. I'm trying to, be as good as I can on my diet. And the interesting thing with Crohn's or colitis patients, what one person can eat, the other person can't eat, but we have the same symptoms. So for me, I have to stay away from salads and tomatoes and things like that. And fried foods, and so I try to, to my best, have the best diet that I can, and I am feeling very well right now. So,
well, I'm glad to hear it. And,
but you never know. That's the thing. You never know what's going to happen.
Right. Well, once again, it is nice actually for you to shed light on that, because a lot of people probably wouldn't have stepped out on that. That's not something that is easy to talk about. So
it's super embarrassing. And I'm in a band and in a high profile band, and people that have to drive to work every day that, maybe get caught in traffic, that's equally as bad, where they can't get to a bathroom immediately, but yet they have to keep living their lives. Or kids that are in school, that's really, how hard it is as a teenager to be in school and to be mocked and all those kind of things. And on top of that, have this horrible disease and have to use the bathroom all the time, and teachers don't understand. So there's a lot going on.
And it all ties back around now to Flight to Mars.
Yes.
Which is an interesting little way to say.
Good segue.
This isn't even your first side project. I was actually kind of curious of any of the other ones you were doing. Will we ever see from again, like the Rockfords? Is there ever going to be any more Rockfords?
The Rockfords, we may do something. Carrie Ockrey, the singer, dear friend of mine, has moved to Minneapolis with her family, and she has a job there. So I believe she'll be busy there for a little while. 4/5 of the Rockfords were Shadow, so we just did some shows down in Costa Rica with my friend Duff McKagan with his band Loaded, so that was fun. That was another side thing. We're looking into re-releasing some Mad Seasons music that I did with Lane Staley before he died, and John Baker Saunders. It was a side project I did in. Lane was from Alice in Chains, and it was a side project I did in 1995. We're going to re-release that hopefully by the end of the year, and put a live concert out. And also we have 13 unreleased songs we never did, and I'm hoping that we're going to get some singers to sing on the top of that.
You made my head explode just a little bit on that one right there.
Oh, sorry. Hopefully in a good way.
No, that was such an amazing record, and to know that there's even leftover stuff out there, that's exciting. So
the thing that happened was we were trying to do another record, and it just didn't work. Lane went off and did Alice in Chains, and then he died. So what happened was I had to change the name to a band called Disinformation. So from the Disinformation sessions, there are probably 12 songs, and out of that, probably 8 that are pretty great. So that need to be edited, but they're all music. So we're trying to find singers to do, that are up to the caliber of Lane,
right,
to do justice to it.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of them, but it's just getting the commitment. And this is just has happened as of like 2 days ago. So
wow, thanks for the scoop.
Yeah. So I probably shouldn't be talking about this early, but it doesn't matter because it's going to happen towards the end of the year. We're just trying to get all our ducks in the row. We're trying to get the rights back from Sony, all these things. So.
Sure. Well, we'll be looking to see if it actually comes to. I know the process can take a long time. So
it can, but I think there's some cool stuff, and people will be excited when it happens. We're going to make it really nice for people.
You want to give us the update on Star Anna? You've been championing Star Anna. We played her quite a bit here at WFPK.
Yes, thank you for bringing her up. Star Anna is my favorite new singer-songwriter out of Seattle, from Ellensburg, which is outside of Seattle. She has just finished a new record, which I think is very great. And I didn't have anything to do with it. They just did their own thing, and so I don't have my nepotism like I played on. Actually, I did play on one song, but it's a really cool record done with Johnny Sangster, who's a local producer here in Seattle. A different sound for them. I am going to play with her tomorrow night for Record Store Day. We released a single that's coming out tomorrow called "Keep On," that she sings on, and then the B-side is called "Call Your Girlfriend," which is a Robin song, but she does that techno pop kind of hit, and she does a very quiet, beautiful, sad rendering of that song. And then the "Keep On" song, it's already on. I think you can download it. We've put it out, but the vinyl's coming out tomorrow for Record Store Day, and I'm going to sit in with Star tomorrow for a couple of songs.
That's fantastic.
So hopefully, this is her year. I don't know. You never know with this. I just love listening to her sing.
Yeah. Well, "Wolves in Disguise" was such a big song over here. Love that one. So.
Oh, cool. Great.
Be excited to hear more from that. Yeah.
Cool. I think you'll enjoy the new direction. It's different than that. So
definitely. No, I mean it is all about her voice, though. At the beginning, I mean she has some power there. So.
Some power and some soul and some sadness, and I mean I've seen like 800 people go, what? She played at a hootenanny one time, and I was out in the audience, and it was our hootenanny that we were playing, and I just happened to go watch her from the audience, and the whole audience was just like, what did I just see? And she just did "That's How Strong My Love Is" by Otis Redding, and it just she stole the whole thing. It was amazing.
It is Public Radio Awareness Month. Which I know you guys have been doing a little bit with. In fact, I mean, Pearl Jam has a huge history with radio. You had your own pirate radio stations for a little bit there with the Monkey Wrench Radio. Yeah,
that was an interesting time. That was in 95 era, in the mid 90s, and Ed was traveling. It was interesting. It was almost a point of contention towards the end of it because we were traveling in a plane and he was in a van doing a radio show right after it, right after the show. So. It was very much of an interesting time. It was really cool he was doing that, but he was also getting super tired, and none of the band was really talking around at that time. So there was kind of like a strange disconnect that went along when that was going on, and we had to sit down and have a couple of meetings. Like, how are we going to continue to be a band? Do we want to be a band? Do you want to be with us, Ed? It was an interesting time. So it was twofold. It was cool that he was doing the radio show from after every show, but it was also kind of exhausting him too at the same time.
Well, hopefully not.
And we just speaking of Star Anna, we did 2 of those songs for KEXP 90.3 here in Seattle last 2 weeks ago with Star. So we do support it.
Well, that is a great tie in there. KEXP is a great public station.
Yeah.
And obviously, hopefully not every experience you've had with radio has been like the end of the Monkey Wrench Radio there. But I
don't want to denigrate it. I'm just trying to tell you the psychology behind what was going on. But I thought it was fantastic because we did a few things in Seattle that were fantastic through Monkey Wrench, which will have some Mad Season music from that happened. We did one show out of Seattle that was really fantastic. It was Mad Season and us and Mudhoney, and I can't remember who else played. Soundgarden might have played a tune, but there was a really good sense of community happening when that was going on. So I am very proud of that too.
Yeah, it's a good bootleg. I've got that one.
Oh, okay, you got it, right. I can't remember who else was there. It was.
I'd have to look back, too, and there was a lot of them through there.
Yeah. Fastbacks were there too. So.
Yeah. Well, actually, so with it being Public Radio Awareness Month, is there any stations like that you could talk about, like KEXP, and what public radio maybe has meant to you guys? Because it does really fit you guys' mantra and mentality of Pearl Jam.
Yeah. Well, I like, I like NPR, I like KEXP. I like to listen to, I listen to all sorts of stuff, but I like stuff that's kind of, run by the people, so to speak, where you can donate and support. And then they kind of don't follow, the formats that are dictated through regular radio, I guess. In terms of playing new bands. You've got good DJs here and that play stuff in Seattle that I've never heard before, and it turns me on to new stuff because I get stuck in a rut and listen to old stuff all the time from the 70s and 80s. So if you don't have to really follow a format or you create your own format, that's kind of freeing to listen to that. If it's a blues night, they'll do that, and that's kind of neat, and I get to hear some stuff I never hear. You don't ever get to hear blues on the radio. So I do enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear it. And like I said, Pearl Jam has seemed to have found a great home on public radio throughout the years too.
We're very lucky for that. I mean, I'm glad that it's embraced us.
Yeah. Well, it seems like even through a few of the years on a few of the records that commercial radio didn't take a chance on, we were still around to play it.
Sure.
So
yeah, there's definitely been times like our no code records or binaural or certainly that people didn't gravitate towards it, or the radio stations didn't throw it in their playlist, or the regular ones, and we have no control over that. So we're grateful that someone was playing it. Yeah. That you guys were doing it.
Well, if you've got another moment, could we get actually a little bit of a Pearl Jam update while we're here?
Sure.
You guys have been working on a new record a little bit here and there?
We are here and there working on a little teeny bit of a record. We've got some demos we've been working. We're again with Brendan O'Brien, who's kind of our captain and leading us on doing this and this record. But we're probably not going to have anything out this year. We're trying to make this thing the best as possible that we can, and we're taking our time with it, like a slow cooked turkey. I don't know if that's the right analogy, but
as long as it's not dried out by the end.
But we're really taking our time with it is basically my point. So we've got about 15 or so ideas that we're kicking around and Ed's working on, and we're going to go out and tour towards the end of the year in Europe ourselves, and I think Ed's doing a little touring, and as is Soundgarden. So it's a very busy year in terms of other things going on. Right. So that's where we're at. We're just kind of doing a record right now. We're in the middle of it.
Well, I've heard the word experimental thrown out a little bit, and Pearl Jam stuff, that can mean some really cool things happening. Is that true?
A little bit. I think we leave ourselves open to whatever everyone's feeling around. I mean, to be as nebulous as possible. I mean, however we feel as individuals in whatever time period we're doing music is how the music comes out. A lot of times. That meaning there could be some more poppy stuff because if I'm listening to some more pop stuff, or there could be heavier stuff because Jeff is listening to some more heavy. It's kind of a combination of those things. I would say some is experimental, but some is pretty straightforward rock and roll, and some are some really beautiful ballads and stuff. So.
Did any of these, I know there was some talk right after Backspacer that you guys had written enough that you could potentially have made it a second record right after Backspacer. Did any of these songs come from those sessions?
These new ones from the Backspacer, we've listened to a few of those. Yes, I'd say 2 or 3 are from that, but we have a slew of, as we all write in the band, we all brought in, 10 songs, 5 songs a piece to the band, and so that's in addition to the 2 or 3 that were from Backspacer. Yeah. So we're always constantly trying to move forward like a shark. You keep going as forward as possible. If things don't happen for whatever reason, sometimes the songs just don't make the record because they're not good enough for that record, but they may be good if you revisit them and listen to them again. So there are a few of those, but then there's some that just won't do it. An early version of that was a song called Hard to Imagine that we tried to record over and over and over again, and I don't think we ever got the really great take of it. And that was an example of trying to really record something over the period of a few records. So I think you always want to be, at least in your mind as an artist, to be moving in a forward momentum. So hopefully we're doing that.
Is it going to be difficult to split Matt Cameron this year?
Oh, I think it'll be fine. Matt Cameron is so user friendly. I don't know if that's the right word. He's very much the most kind of quote unquote normal guy I've ever met in my life, and he's very focused on what he's doing, and when he's doing it, he does it 100%. So in terms of, he'll be with Soundgarden for their duration, and as their record is coming out, which is phenomenal, by the way. I've heard 3 or 4 cuts from it. It's ridiculous how good it is. So when he's off of that, we have our tour booked in June. So Matt's gonna have a busy year for sure, but we'll make it. We're at a point in our career, since it's after the 20th anniversary, we feel as a band it's like let's not really worry about too much other than trying to create some good music right now and doing some touring, but let's do it in a way where we feel very comfortable about it, and that means we all go do side things too. Yeah. Ed'll do his solo tour, Matt'll do a Soundgarden thing. So we'll figure it out. He'll figure it out for sure.
I like hearing the words Soundgarden and side project in the same.
Oh, right. I mean, Soundgarden certainly is its own entity.
Right,
I don't mean to categorize them as a side project by any means.
No, not putting words in your mouth.
They're a formidable force of music and an incredible band. So.
Last thing, actually, I noticed that one of the shows you're playing down in Florida is in your old hometown, isn't it?
Pensacola, Florida.
That's right.
Yeah. We're playing the DeLuna Festival in Pensacola, Florida, where the weekend of September 21st. Mm-hmm. And that's where I was born. My dad was in survival on ready to go to Vietnam. He was a pilot of F-4s, and he was stationed, and my family was in Pensacola, Florida, and that's why I was born there.
Yeah. Did you grow up there, or was it just kind of a born there type thing?
I was just born there, and my dad committed himself to 2 tours over there of duty, and was we followed him. He was shot down over the Gulf of Tonkin and recovered in the burn clinic in Miramar, California. So we moved to Miramar, California, to San Diego when I was about probably 3 years old, or actually 2 years old. Then I stayed there from 2 to 5, and he got out of the service, and we moved to Seattle when I was 5.
Yeah. Well, in the words of Bono, a sort of homecoming, just the same.
It is, yeah. I mean, I'm glad to be born. So I'm excited to go back there and say hello again. It's been a while. Yeah. We were there years ago. So. And
on that note, a belated happy birthday too. I know that happened just.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, that's where we'll wrap this up. Mike McCready, thank you so much for taking this extended amount of time today. And,
no worries, Kyle. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Good luck on the flight.
Can I throw out the dates of the Flight to Mars tour?
Please,
get those up for a second?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. We're doing the West Coast tour from May 14th to May 24th, and it's starting in San Diego. Starting in Orange County, and the dates are on thepearljam.com.
Yeah. Well, good luck on that tour. We look forward to seeing. If we get to see you, on that tour, and if not, hopefully there'll be some bootlegs floating around.
Let's hope so.
Of that show as well. So, and then we'll see you around. Thank you so much.
All right, Kyle. Thank you.
Have a great one.